Hello! Hi. It's been a bit. Hello. It's good to see you guys. Hi. How is everyone doing on this lovely Friday? Science Friday. Science Friday for the first time in a bit. Science. I wasn't able to stream for last week, but we are back. We are back this week. Hello. Thank you for checking in, Weetabix. 64 days. You're almost close to the magic meme number. In 3 more days, in 3 more streams, you're going to be able to 6-7 in the Petri dish. Hi, Josem. Good to see you. I hope everyone has been well. I had a really busy weekend last week, which is why I wasn't able to stream. I posted a bit about it on Twitter and on our Discord server. I was at Anime NYC, and I also went to the Skyline Serenade indie VTuber concert. It was really fun, but because of all that, like, doing and moving around, I am not going to stream. I was just so tired, so I just kind of took a nice little weekend rest. But I did miss you guys, and I also don't really like taking a week off when I could technically stream, mostly because it always feels weird going back in. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I know how to stream? Do I know how to do this? And I do, but it just takes a little bit to get back into the groove of things. Today, I was like, right before stream started, I was a little late because I turned off a mic setting that was like default on Windows, which is supposed to make your audio sound more crisp and clear, ? But everyone said to turn it off, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna turn off that setting right now. And then I didn't check what that actually does to my audio until just a minute before stream, and I was like, oh my god, why is everything I'm saying in the red and I'm peaking like crazy? And I had to quickly figure out, just go back and turn back on those default settings. So clearly something was very wrong when I turned off the default settings. I hate audio engineering related things. I don't understand how it plays. Why does the Windows setting have so much power versus all the settings I set up neatly and nicely? What's the point of my little cute audio interface if I just turn off one button in the Windows settings and it destroys everything audio related? Literally every single word was peaking. It was red on the OBS. Anyway, I will figure that out after stream. Hello. Now I want to record a message for you for your first night, blah, 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 blah. I don't understand audio stuff too. I just try until it works. I think that's usually my approach, but it's so complicated. I think it's because I feel like my little ears aren't trained well enough to understand the nuances of all this audio related things. I've talked about how I've been trying to learn, singing, because I would like to do a vocal cover, but it's so hard. Sometimes what I hear and what I try it just doesn't make any sense, and then I have no idea how to handle that. I wish I understood music and audio more. But maybe I should study it. Maybe I should sit down and put my little microbial brain to work and learn more about that. Okay. I should stop yapping. Oh, what do you think of my audio records? I couldn't hear it, Joseph. I didn't get a chance to listen because I was so busy, but I'm going to listen after the stream, okay? I also forgot to comment. I like the things you were posting in the art channel. Was it last? Yeah, it was on the 21st. I liked your light bulb. You had a very cool light bulb in a jar pictures. I really liked them. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I will listen to your audio records after. Okay, I need to start talking about the science, and this will be a video that way I don't have to record something later. I will turn it into a nice little, like, maybe, ideally we turn this, like, 60-minute, very drawn-out stream into, like, a 10-15-minute video about the vaccine. That's my goal here. Doing the Ludwig, turn my stream into video content move. Hi, Dragolance. It's really good to see you. I'm glad you were able to come by for a stream. It's learn time. It is learn time. We're going to learn. It's kind of like, I planned this before the pancreatic cancer RAS inhibitor FDA approval, and then I was thinking, I kind of wish I was like talking about that, but we can talk about that next Friday. I think that's going to also be fun, and I'm really hoping. Okay, I need to talk about it. Okay, next Friday we'll talk about this more. But there was a pancreatic cancer oncology approval this week. It was very big deal because it took only like, maybe, I think it was like considered a 5-week turnaround approval time. They submitted their like a marketing application, and then they got 5 weeks. And now it's FDA approved, which is insane. It's because it was making so much noise in the like medical community space. I have to leave here in an hour, but I'm so happy to get to hang out with you. Okay, an hour is perfect. I think we should be able to get through with this all in an hour. The cancer, we'll talk more about the cancer vaccine. I just really want to quickly give a sneak peek of next week where we'll talk about the pancreatic cancer vaccine, or not vaccine, but therapeutic. I am waiting for one of the doctors to get back to me so I can like give more information about that therapeutic, because it's kind of an interesting thing. You might not realize how fascinating how fascinatingly weird that pancreatic cancer drug's approval is, because it's biomarker agnostic, which is so strange for something that is targeted for KRAS, which is one of the most known genes. But right now, the patient eligibility, like as in what you need, what the person with the cancer needs in their tumors to be prescribed this drug. Right now, it just says, as long as you have pancreatic cancer, you can get this drug, which is so weird for something that's so targeted. But I want to get more clarification from the doctors and scientists who are actually working on it. And then I want to share it with you guys, because I think that would be really, really cool. But that's a sneak peek for next Friday. This week, we're talking about the melanoma cancer vaccine that you may or may not have heard of. It's been making huge waves in like the public science spaces, in the public eye, because of the fact I think cancer vaccines are such a like novel kind of mode of treatment. And it's also an mRNA vaccine, and mRNA vaccines are kind of like this what do you mean? Like a hot topic because of how it was related to the COVID vaccine. I won't get too much into that. If you actually want to learn more, there's a stream I can recommend. Ichiro Cyan. I believe he talks more about mRNA vaccines. He has a stream that talked about it yesterday. I would recommend looking at that guy's VOD, because it's very, very, I'm sure it's very, very good. I only got to watch just a bit of it, but I won't get too much into like mRNA vaccines. I'm going to try talking more about the treatment itself. Okay, so what happened, in case you missed it, also, I'm going to use a whiteboard while I am doing all this. I tried to set this up earlier. Let's see if you can see it. Hi. Okay. It does work. It does, in fact, work. I am so glad that worked, despite me setting that up very, very, very last minute. Hold on, I'm trying. Vaccines for cancers? I thought the mechanism of vaccines only worked for viruses. That is a good point. Don't worry, Josem. We will get more into that. So don't you worry. We'll give a little bit of a refresher on what exactly a cancer vaccine is and what this all means. So, what happened this week? It was actually August 9, it wasn't even this week, it was last week. Let's be real, it was last week. a personalized mRNA cancer vaccine for melanoma made very huge waves because there were positive results associated with a phase 3 clinical trial. And this is one of the first mRNA cancer-based vaccines that we have seen to demonstrate like any kind of success in the cancer space. It's a huge deal. We got a curious question. I've always wondered, do you prefer a whiteboard, chalkboard, or one of those new LED write-on screens? I am a whiteboarder, but I also don't mind the LED. I like the LED screens too. I'm not a big chalkboard fan. Chalkboard, I really don't like the feeling of chalk and like the sound it makes. I just really hate it. So this is what you might have seen, and I think a lot of people kind of just saw this, but they don't really understand like what this even means, and so we're gonna try to get into this just a little bit more. So, okay, my screen isn't showing, hold on, I need to move my Firefox just a little bit, there we go. Tomoya, hello, thank you for checking into the Petri dish 7 whole days. Thank you. Hello, hope you've been doing well. I totally agree. Yeah, I don't like the sound of chalkboards. Okay, so before we begin, we can talk a little bit about what a cancer vaccine actually means. And like you said, Joseph, I think the word cancer vaccine, it's a little like, like what does that even mean? So it's similar in a way to normal vaccines that we get for something like, chicken pox. We show just a little bit of the piece that we want to target. So let's say this is the enemy. Whatever that, you can't read my handwriting, but that's like the enemy. Like whatever this is, a little fragment. It could be, a piece of a virus that is not going to harm us. But whatever it is, we want to show it to our body and kind of train. Like it lets our body, it gives the cells in our body an understanding of like, that's what the enemy looks like. And so in a way, that is how cancer vaccines and normal vaccines are like share the same thing. Where it changes though is like, we normally associate vaccines with like a piece of like virus or something, but this time what we give it is a piece of the tumor, so to speak. It's not exactly a piece of the tumor, but it's what we find is unique on a tumor, and it shouldn't be found anywhere else on the human body. That's like the big part. You want to give it something that makes it so when your body sees this signature, it goes, oh, that means it's really bad, and we need to do something about it. We have to, like, get rid of this. This cannot exist. We must, like, laser beam it to death. Except, we don't have laser beams in our immune system, but that's kind of the equivalent of what we're trying to say. Like, the part that's really difficult, that makes this a challenge, though, you might, like, imagine is this right here, unique or overexpressed. You want to make something that is different and won't hurt your other human cells. But if can be difficult to find something that's exactly unique. And there are certain cancers that are like, we know exactly what defines them. There's certain things that are like, yeah, that is exactly what we need to do. Like if you see this gene BRAF and it has this mutation V600E, that means, oh my gosh, you probably have that's probably exactly unique to the tumor. That's likely just found only on the tumors, not exactly anywhere else. But that's still a bit of a challenge, so to speak. It's not like, even when we are able to identify it, we haven't exactly had a lot of success in terms of the cancer vaccine aspect when it comes to this kind of treatment. we've had more success in these cases of like, if we know that BRAF V600E exists, why don't we just stop the mechanism, stop it from doing its thing, and then we can treat the tumor that way. Cancer vaccines haven't really found that level of success. I have another question. Do you use a voice modulator, or is this your real voice? If that's super, you can afford that. I do not use a voice modulator. This is my real voice. I go to like big doctor meetings and I talk to people who are high up in the directors, all that, and I talk like this. And they smile at me. I actually am the one that is usually told to present like things in meetings, because the old doctors, they smile more and like laugh when I'm presenting versus like someone else. I think they like hearing my voice. I think they think it's kind of like it makes them feel more at ease. I saw this question about an old thing where you talked about program bacteria, and I was wondering, could the same thing be done with viruses? Is that something we already do? I'm not exactly sure. I'm not like really in tune with what virology research is like, so maybe. I think it would technically be possible, but I don't know for sure. I would have to get back to you on that. It's like we're communicating with the human body. Yeah, it really is. We're doing our best to interface with the human body as much as we can. And it can be pretty difficult in that sense because, the human body is just so complicated. Oh, I agree with the doctors. Thank you. I was told that once cancer cells rapidly evolve or can adapt. That's true? Yes, they can adapt very well. Hold on. Let me get rid of all this junk. Oh, I can't. Okay, let me erase all this junk then. Can I erase it easily? Okay, I didn't. I should have figured out how to erase more. Okay, there we go. Eraser. So, yeah, cancer cells can rapidly adapt. Too small. So there is that. Like, let's say that's a cancer cell, and you treat it with some kind of therapy. So we say, like, that's the T1 therapy. And then if you don't kill all of the cancer cells, let's say you kill this one and you kill this one, but this one lives. This one might have a specific mutation that allowed it to not be affected by T1. And so then this population grows instead. And so you have all of this T1 immune cancer cells, and that is like how resistance happens. This happens pretty often, unfortunately, with certain like cancers and certain treatments. You really they call it like funneling into a specific pathway. So it's likely to start developing resistance to whatever biological mechanism you were trying to take advantage of. And then they have like counter like treatments in preparation for that resistance. It's very complicated. I hate resistance also. I'll go over that one of these days, but cancer cell resistance is so complicated and so annoying because of how it's not as easy also to like what makes it so complicated. It's not very easy to understand, like, if only cancer, like I said, like this one cell is resistant, let's say, but it's because tumor cells are very heterogeneous, as in they're made up of a bunch of different things. So it makes it very complicated to understand exactly where the resistance can come from. Sometimes, like, there's things that are really well defined at this point, but when you're trying to study like what's causing resistance or like looking through the literature, sometimes they'll just say like there's like 50 different mutations in this one cancer cell that was not sensitive to a treatment. And then you go, okay, but what does that even mean? What made it resistant? I don't know. Anyway, very complex, very complex. I love your voice. Always brings me sound. Don't ever use a modulator. Oh, thank you. I don't have any intentions to. Don't worry. So I will continue on. Okay, that's our cancer vaccine refresher. So what we had released was Intismeran, which is the melanoma cancer vaccine that was by Merck and Moderna. I want to read the abstract of their phase 2B clinical trial study. This is like the latest paper that is out. They actually don't have their latest results out. They're waiting for medical conferences later this year to be able to showcase to do an abstract and paper and the results. So this is like the most latest public data that I can show. But I'll read the abstract to you guys. Intismeran autogene plus pembrolizumab versus pembrolizumab alone in high-risk resected melanoma, a 5-year update of the randomized phase 2B Keynote 942 study. So Intismeran autogene, that is the cancer vaccine, and they were testing it out in patients with an immunotherapy called pembrolizumab, which we'll talk about a bit more, just in case you don't really understand what an immunotherapy is, and that's okay if you don't, because there's no reason for you to know that if you're not in this space. And this was they wanted to compare it versus pembrolizumab alone, which is the standard of care. That's normally what these patients get. They would just get pembro by them itself. And this was in high-risk resected melanoma. And high-risk resected means that the melanoma has already been removed, like physically. But melanoma that's been removed physically is still a very high risk of like future metastasis because of the fact that we don't get all of the tumor cells. And this is a 5-year update. So these patients who were treated for 5 whole years, and then this is the results we saw. Some unexplained tumors and cancers to me as though it's like a hostile environment invading the human body. Would you say that's accurate? It is. I think that's not a bad way to look at it. I could probably go into this I could probably talk more and more about that, but I think that's a decent enough summary. It would be way too long for me to say all my thoughts on how cancer, what cancer really is and what that means, so to say. But I think it's a good basis. It's just much more complex than that. And I think to just call it a hostile environment, it's like not it's very simplified, but simplifying is good. It's not bad. But maybe we can talk about that another time. Okay. So that was, the title. I broke it down, hopefully, and you kind of get an idea of it. So Intismeran autogene is an mRNA-based individualized neoantigen therapy. So this is like the part where it's personal. They found the antigen that we were talking about, like what makes that person's tumor their melanoma, like what's the key identifier that makes it different than their other human cells, other human non-cancer cells. And we reported the 5-year outcomes of Intismeran plus pembrolizumab from the phase 2B Keynote 9425 study. Eligible patients with resected melanoma were randomly assigned 2-to-1 to receive 9 doses of intramuscular Intismeran 1 mg once every 3 weeks, plus 18 doses of IV pembro 200 mg once every 3 weeks, or 18 doses of IV pembro 200 mg once every 3 weeks. So again, comparison of the vaccine plus pembro versus just pembro alone. The primary endpoint was recurrence-free survival. Secondary endpoints included distant metastasis-free survival and safety. So, because this is already these patients were already treated of their melanoma, we're looking more at making sure that they aren't, the primary endpoint is, what is the big conclusion here? What's the data point that they are looking for to report to say that this is successful? And for this, since they were already treated before, they want to make sure that what it's doing is that their melanoma doesn't come back. That's recurrence-free survival. Among 157 randomly assigned patients, and so they split that 2-to-1, so 107 patients got the vaccine and 50 of them did not get the vaccine. The median planned follow-up at data cutoff, which was December 2025 last year, was 60.3 months. Intismeran plus Pembro continued to prolong RFS and DMFs with a favorable trend in overall survival versus Pembro. So this means in this interim study, they were able to showcase like this does in fact significantly improve recurrence-free survival. These patients who get the vaccine added on top of their normal standard of care are surviving longer without their melanoma coming back for them. Amazing. Very, very, very super duper good. What we are missing though is that we really want to see like this in a larger population. Wait, so the vaccine is for people that already had treatment? Yes, the vaccine is already for people that had treatment. These people have already had surgically removed melanoma. But there's little bits and pieces of the melanoma, even after you get the surgery, that it's very prone to like causing problems. It can cause a lot of issues when those little bits and pieces decide to metastasize. And we have like, because like surgery is like the most common way, the primary way to treat melanoma, it's not surprising that these people are already pre-treated. It's the real problem is often this like, my gosh, we didn't get all of it, and now this person has really like metastasized melanoma or metastasized cancer of some kind because of the little bits and pieces we weren't able to get rid of. To be fair, I was told this is when I was probably around 10 by a doctor who's visiting my school. I mean, that's fair. Like, I think that's a great explanation for a 10-year-old. Oh, them headlines made it sound like the vaccine was all you need. Exactly. I think that, Tomoya, is like a big part of why I think talking about this is really important, because I think a lot of people, I saw these misconceptions of people thought this was a vaccine, as in this prevented melanoma, which is not how it works. And that also this by itself is what you needed only to treat the melanoma, which is also not true. These people were already treated, and it's not even like you can just give them the vaccine by themselves. You need to have pembrolizumab, which is an immunotherapy, and let's go to the next one. Immunotherapies. So Pembro, as I said, is an immunotherapy, and that means it works by engaging the patient's own immune system. So I want to draw like a little. So let's say that we have the vaccine right here. That's the vaccine. The patient gets the vaccine, and they also need this bottle of Pembro, PB. And this is the Emotes, I can't remember the name, the cancer vaccine. So we need both parts. If you only have this part, you've taught your immune system how to recognize the melanoma pieces that might be floating around still, but your body is like not really primed to fighting it. Like your body can recognize it, but it's not really like, that's kind of all it's really doing. Your immune system might be like kind of out of whack because maybe you are experiencing some like mild like immunosuppressive symptoms of some kind. So your immune system's not doing its good, like as good as it can. And so it's recognizing it, but what does that do? Nothing. So when you add the Pembro to this, now your immune cells inside are quite strengthened. Pembro kind of enhances the immune response. So now you're really able to knock out these the tumors that your body has now recognized. So they work really, really well together. And it's no surprise that it works well, because we know for a fact that Pembro it's a standard of care. This is normally what they just get. And it works well. In fact, it works really well. I think the reported, I have to look into this, but 49% increased survival was reported with the combination, and then it was about 41% or something like that when it's just pembro by itself. Any significant increase is still like it's taken like it's really important, but it's not like pembro was doing that poorly by itself. It got a nice little boost, just a sizable little boost when you give it a bit more training so it knows exactly what it's targeting. This is a crazy accomplishment because we've never even seen anything like this before. Like we've never even had like even the tiniest little boost when it comes to these cancer vaccines. So this is really, really good, but it's not, again, I don't want to downplay it. I want you to be excited about this, but I want you to also walk away knowing like, oh my gosh, it's not this miracle. Like, it's not like you don't just give the vaccine shot and go, bam, you are now free of melanoma forever and ever and ever. That's not how it works. If you could vaccinate or cure for any disease or cancer, what name would you give it? Oh, that is an interesting question. I really like, what if I just name it after myself? Nico. I really like, there's a drug that's called nivolumab, and it's like a monoclonal antibody. That's what the mab part is. But what if we just name it like Nicoplasma? I just want to put Nico in there somehow. But then it's dependent, I guess, on like what kind of therapeutic is. But we're gonna stick the name Nico in there. Yeah, you want us to have the correct understanding of how cool it is. Exactly. I think it's important to be excited about science, but you should be excited for the right reasons, in my opinion. It's really easy to run away with misconceptions and be excited about the wrong things, and then like that transmits the misconceptions further and further and further, and then we suddenly have people in Reddit comments saying the wrong things. I'm always excited to learn something new, and you make science interesting. Oh, thank you so much. It works more similar to the rabies vaccine, where you already have it present and basically sticking the immune system where it hides rather than preventing it. Normally, what we think of vaccines, exactly. And similarly, like it's very like it's okay. Well, actually, we'll get into it a bit more, but. Yeah, we talked a bit about this. These slides were mostly for my own purpose, my own notes. They are not very like, they're so I have mostly something to write on the whiteboard with. Yeah, completely resected, hide, and this 1,000 I only talked about like 157 patients. The 1,100 patients is coming in the phase 3 clinical trial that Merck and Moderna said we got positive results with. And so what we really want to see is like how big of an effect it is when it's at this population size. Do we still see like quite a significant? I mean, they made it sound like it was very significant, and their stocks went way up. They got like, I think the day they announced that they had positive results for their phase 3 clinical trial with this many patients, they made like 40, like their market cap went up like $40 billion. It's insane. We have to still wait to see exactly what this is gonna look like. I'm hoping that it's a little bit more significant. Nicoplasma? Alright, so that sounds so good. I like it. Rolls off the tongue, goes, I don't know if yeah, something like that. I think that would be how I spell it. I have a very analytical brain that takes information from multiple sources and compiles some same information from all these sources and kind of dumps the rest. Am I being autistic? I don't know. No, like I also have a brain that kind of just like takes in so much, and then I really try to synthesize what all that information means from all these different kind of sources. And then it's like complicated, and it sometimes makes me like tired and exhausted because there's so much conflicting info across all these different sources. But it's fun. It's fun to learn. You know, I can only imagine how much your facepalm and reading those headlines and people on Reddit. I think they mean well. I will say people mean well. And I had some people even talk to me, like they like contacted me and said, "Oh my gosh, did you see this? They can make you so you'll never have melanoma again." And I was like, "You mean very well." And I'm going to quickly tell you that's not the truth. We talked a bit already about melanoma and how it's very deadly skin cancer. Wear your sunscreen, okay? I'm going to use this as a platform to say wear sunscreen when you are out. Those UV rays can do a lot of damage to you. Wear sunscreen, and not even just the damage, it can also cause wrinkles, and if you don't want wrinkles, you should wear sunscreen. Okay. And then we're still waiting for more data. I'm kind of annoyed that Merck and Moderna did not want to release anything regarding the numbers publicly. I tried to see if I can find them personally using my professional experiences and professional networking, but no one wanted to share the investor reports slides with me, and it's not like I also would not be able to share them with you, but I just wanted to personally see it with my own eyes. But no, I couldn't find any info. They're trying to make big waves in the I don't know what conference they're even gonna break the results in. Because yeah, I don't know. But whenever that happens, we'll have another chit chat, another stream to go over this information. So now that we kind of understand how this vaccine works, what was the clinical trial design, I think what's also important to understand is what kind of challenges these cancer vaccines pose. And we went over this briefly in one of our cancer streams in this summer, but we can always give a nice little refresher if you don't remember. So because this is personalized, we have to remember that everyone. Oh, where's my pen? Okay, it's a personalized cancer vaccine, so your tumor might be presenting A, and this guy's tumor might present B. And we have to, it takes time to figure out what is making up your tumor, what is making your tumor unique. That requires resection, sequencing, a lot of testing to figure out, oh, this has this and this and has this, and that's not expressed in your non-cancerous tissues. So let's try to figure that out. And also, is it actually targetable? Sometimes things could be unique, but maybe it's difficult to actually have your immune system kind of encounter it because of the way maybe that little expression marker is hidden away in a little niche in the cell. It's complicated, and so you have to find what's best. I wanted to spend more time trying to talk about how they do this, because I actually am not familiar with it myself, but I think I couldn't find anything because I'm pretty sure this is proprietary technology. Every time I looked it up, how they can best identify what is best for the cancer vaccine, what's the personal neoantigen they should use, it sounded like they don't give that info, which I guess is fair. That's probably a big commercial secret, I guess. What's the name of the company that's making the vaccine? It is, hold on. I was gonna, making sure it's Merck and Moderna. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just conflating both of them because they tend to work together a lot. But yeah, it's Merck and Moderna. I think it's Moderna's platform that is proprietary when it comes to picking like which is the neoantigen. I saw part of Hankering's video. She showed the company stock shot up with the announcement. It went way up. They got billions and billions of dollars. I gotta be heading off here soon. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. I wish you all the best. Thank you for hanging out, Dragonlance. I appreciate you stopping by. I really appreciate your questions. Goodbye. Have a good weekend. All I heard is they're using AI algorithm to compare the genomes and identify the neoantigens. I do believe they're utilizing AI in some way, which is not a surprise. AI is very good at that kind of like recognition and pattern and like identifying what might be unique in a way that humans like might struggle with looking through it like sequence by sequence. So that's not a very big surprise to me. Don't ever stop being amazing today. Thank you. Cancer vaccines would be personalized and specialized to every specific people, body parts, and many types expected. Yes. So that is kind of an expensive thing to do. It takes a bit of money. I think I saw that it might be a little bit expensive. I didn't see exact price ranges for this, but I'm going to imagine it is going to be expensive. Another challenge is also we were able to do this with melanoma because melanoma is kind of a unique cancer when it comes to other cancer types. Melanoma is very mutated. There's a lot of different parts, like there's so many different mutations in melanoma usually because it has to do with breaking the DNA repair process. So usually now all these things are out of whack and funky, and you end up getting something, it's called being very mutagenic. So that means there's likely more chances for us to find like perhaps an actionable neoantigen. That is like so like when this comes to like moving towards a different cancer type, we might have problems when it compared to other cancers that are not exactly as mutagenic as melanoma. But who knows? This is already huge news, so maybe we'll see something crazier in the future. In other words, I hope you have insurance. I hope if you are an American here and you were like, wow, that sounds good for me, as I sure hope you have insurance. I don't know, unless you're a secret billionaire in here. Is the future of cancer just to be a vaccine issue? I think we can talk about the future. What's next? Let's talk about it. I didn't have anything written here because I figured it'd be better just to like yap about my thoughts randomly. And if you guys have any good questions or thoughts, I would like to yap about that too. I don't think the future is just going to be vaccine related. I think we're going to see the future is likely much more personalized, similar to these cancer vaccines. We are going to figure out ways of like readily identifying specific biomarkers that might be unique to your tumor, especially for cancer types that don't have like a known signature that makes that we can easily target. But I don't know if it's always going to be vaccine related, because right now, at least in our current state of mind, our current understanding of cancer vaccines is it kind of needs to work with immunotherapies. But like we don't see the cancer vaccines work well without the immunotherapies. So if it sounds like it's only going to work well if we know immunotherapies already work in that cancer type, for example. That means like we already know like if you can sick your immune cells onto that tumor and it works, then that's great. And then maybe there is a future where we can figure out how to make personalized cancer vaccines for that cancer type. And that doesn't always happen. There's a lot of cancer types where it's not like as successful, it's not as sensitive to the immune system. And that depends on like location, where exactly is the tumor. Things like Yeah, like there's so many different cancer types. It is like the huge problem of why it's hard to make like a sweeping generalizing statement on it. There's like solid tumors, as in like a part of your tissue has a tumor mass in it. There's liquid tumors, where as in your blood has like cancer like related cells. Your immune cells themselves can be like your immune cells themselves can be cancerous, and those make it tricky to make generalizing sweeps about like what the future of cancer treatment is and like cancer vaccines. It's going to be very nuanced, and we're making really good headway of trying to go towards more personalized, because we're finding that there are so many unique markers on people's tumors, but we just don't really understand like how to target them. And it's also very expensive right now trying to sequence and like identify these unique markers. We at my job, we're experimenting with new like ways of looking at different at people's tumors and patients' tumors. And one of my jobs right now to help those people is to like kind of like really look through all the literature in the genome and going, okay, we have all this information about known cancer genes. Like there's like a lot of known cancer genes. You need to like go through the literature and find like, what about these like not as well known? Has there been any cases of like these like unknown genes, relatively unknown genes? Have they demonstrated oncogenicity? Have they demonstrated that they can be part of causing cancer? And even if they aren't, let's say there is no literature, can you like understand like, if this gene is mutated, what pathway does that affect? Is a known cancer gene in that pathway? Is it like upstream, downstream? And so the job is kind of like finding all that information so we can kind of like maybe put something together and go, oh, this patient is very this patient has this gene that's mutated, and we don't know much about that gene, but it is upstream of TP53, and maybe that means it's causing TP53 to become dysregulated, and that's causing its own problems. Every cell in your body can be cancer. Every cell in your body can be cancer, like anything that has like genome and can be messed up in some way or the other, it can be cancer. There is a lot of different cancers out there. I think it would be fun to go over all the different kind of cancers. There's a ton of different cancers, and tons that people might not even be aware can be considered cancerous. I thought you just looked at bacteria. You're in the medical field. I love bacteria, but I'm actually a cancer science writer and editor. I work in a academic research hospital and work with doctors to get cancer related information to the doctors, who then give that information to their patients to kind of inform what treatments they should get. So this is my specialty. It's not exactly my specialty. My specialty is actually when it comes to biomarkers, as in specific signatures of cancers. This is not really signature related, so I didn't actually do much about this in my I just personally really like this, but my specialty is signature related. But next week, we're going to talk about something that is literally right up my alley, that I had to do a lot of meetings at work, and I think it'll be fun to talk about that. So I think the cancer vaccine is very, very cool. It is not preventative, and it is a treatment option for people who have already gotten melanoma resected, and that is it's very good. It's very good. But it's also important to remember that it is not something that you take by itself. You have to take it with another thing. You have to take it with immunotherapy, or else there's nothing for your body to work with. And I think that is the gist of the cancer vaccines. If anyone has more questions, I would be happy to answer them. And you could also ask me in our Discord. I'm super duper glad to yap more about it. I'll probably talk more about it whenever they decide to present in whatever cancer conference that they're planning on presenting. Is the next one? Hold on, I just want to know. I can't remember which conferences are even left. Oh, ESMO. They're probably going to present at ESMO. ESMO is the European Society for Medical Oncology. I think that's that has to be the next big one, because all the other ones are done. The cancer cell forms spontaneous, or is there a known reason? It can be spontaneous. Sometimes we have things called somatic mutations, which can be spontaneous. Sometimes it's also environmental, like depending on what you're consuming, your UV rays, being near anything that might damage your cells in some ways. Anything can happen, unfortunately. Sometimes you think oh, you have to always, just kind of be exposed to something, but sometimes, unfortunately, there are cases where your body is just bloop and you got a mutation that causes a lot of problems. But oftentimes we generate mutations over the course of aging, and they don't normally cause cancer, but there's a reason why as you get older you're probably more likely to encounter cancer, because now you have a lot of different mutations in your body. There's also things like heritable risks. You might be more familiar with that. That's why you get asked, do you have a history of breast cancer? Because, you can inherit certain gene mutations that make you more likely to get breast cancer. But yes, it can happen spontaneously. Okay, I'll be waiting to hear those phase 3 results. I'm excited. I think it's going to be in October, so whenever that drops, I'm 100% confident it's likely going to be at ESMO, because ESMO is the only next big one that I can think of. Everything else is done. AACR is done and ASCO is done. ASCO is the conference that they presented the phase 2B results to begin with. So, I think that's it. I'm going to turn this stream into a video next. So if you missed all this information, I will be turning this into a 10 to 15 minute video, so you can rewatch at your leisure with all the extra yapping cut out. Thank you so much for Nico. No problem. Okay, thank you for hanging out. I know this was a bit shorter and not super fleshed out. I might flesh out the video even more. I might do some post audio recordings if I need more info. But for now, thank you for hanging out. I just wanted to give a quick talk about, the cancer vaccines, because I thought they were really cool, and I like talking about cancer vaccines. Thank you guys for hanging out. I will be on tomorrow, and it's just going to be a drawing stream and a yapping stream. So, if you just want to hang out tomorrow, feel free to stop by. Thank you, guys. I will see you later then. Bye. Wait, hold on. Bye.